What's up, guys? Welcome to Off the Court with Joni and Derek. I am so sorry I said that. I totally interrupted you. My bad. But, well, welcome to the show, guys.
Episode 2,
Is that
we
episode two? It
are.
is episode two. So, what are
Why'd
we
you look at the?
talking about?
Why'd you look at the board? This is only our
I'm not,
second
it's,
episode.
no, it's on. Oh my God, calm down, would you? I'm looking at my computer screen right here. Okay.
I didn't know you could multitask.
I can. Now you stop. All right. So welcome. Okay. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. This is us just arguing a little bit. So not great at all.
This is arguing.
Anyways, we need to stop. Would you stop it?
Anyway, so we are here to bring you an awesome episode. We
Yes, we are
are looking at talking about building a program.
building a program. So that's where it always starts, right?
Definitely.
Definitely. So what do you want us to do? You want me to be answer? No, you're going to be answering the questions while I'll give you some answer. Oh, wait. I'll be giving you
It's
the
it's
questions.
pretty late.
Yeah, it's late.
The
I'll be
fact
giving
that
you the questions.
the fact that
Okay.
we had to re-record this
Oh yeah, it was
is
horrible
kind
the
of
first
like,
one.
well, the first one was really good, but our sound wasn't working, or
Oh
our
yeah,
mic.
one side of the yeah, it was
So
couldn't hear, so
this
couldn't
is
hear me
us re
speak.
this is us re-recording and trying to get it all ready for tomorrow.
Yeah, sure is. So we can do that, which is going to be today. So don't forget
You weirdo.
that. Yep, sure am. So, anyways, so building a program.
So
Yeah, building a program. In your version, what does that mean to you?
there's different factors, and I don't think like it's something you plan out. Well, I mean, yeah, you can plan it out right before you start,
Hmm.
but it's always going to be trial and error.
Oh yeah,
So
definitely with everything going
the
around.
last the last 4 years have been trial and error with the things we try to implement and um, what we try to get the players to uh, feed into or buy into.
Right. So it's going to be a couple more questions before we get to that. The player, coaches, and um, parents buy-in. But we're going to start off with just a few questions, which is going to be, it all starts with creating a culture around, your basketball program. And, can you just go a little bit more deeper into that?
So, in order for me to really know what kind of program I want to run, I really had to sit back and think about what my philosophy is as a coach.
Yeah.
And I feel like overall, building just a positive and trusting environment is downright the most important.
Oh, yeah.
And, through that, you have a lot of the players who really need to learn those life skills. So I just feel like it's something that helped me when I was younger to build those life skills from basketball or any sport. And that's what I want to reciprocate to the players and what type of, I guess, legacy that I want to leave.
Right. But and also on top of that, we also have to think about, we inherited the program from another coach, which is pretty difficult to do at some point. And from what we kind of went around is, things were a little different and we had to adapt to that and it was pretty tough. So you can kind of see in some players that, some players want to play a different way, other players want to play this way, and when it comes down to it, when you were stepping into that role, what what was your take on it?
It was difficult because we came off of that COVID year.
Oh
So
yeah,
there wasn't a basketball year for during COVID. And then the next year is when we came in as coaches.
Right. It was like
And
a rebuilding. So
yeah, I mean, with every new coach, there's going to be those rebuilding years.
yeah.
And that's what people don't understand is, yeah, my coaching style is different from who was there before, but they cannot expect me to go back and follow that same style
Oh yeah.
because I am a different player. I've learned different skills and even down to what my history and background is as an athlete compared to theirs.
Yeah.
So I think that's where a lot of our, uh, I don't know if you want to say retaliation, but that's where a lot of the issues came from is we kept hearing, I want that coach back.
Hmm.
And I I can't help that. That's not my
Yeah.
choice.
Well,
So
on top of that, it wasn't really our choice, to try to get that person back. But, and again, they moved on, and then we stepped in because they needed somebody to, take over and, continue the basketball program. So, yeah, so, good answer to those. And here's a couple more other things I don't want to ask you. So at the beginning of taking over a program that, made, I mean, I mean, to have, to cut some talented players, other kids that had the new upcoming and didn't have any other skills. So, what was your take on that, too?
as far as making cuts,
Yeah, like making cuts, and you had your talented players right when we showed up. We know who was who, and then on top of that, and with the newcomers coming in, who was there and who was going to be able to, fill some roles. So that's kind of like, I'm sorry, it's kind of like coming back to a lot of the creating a culture around that. So learning and making the difficult cuts and so forth.
I don't think we made any cuts that first year. I mean, and if we did, it was based on, I guess, skill level. But
Hmm.
again, that goes back to the COVID year. Like
Right.
we had sophomore girls that didn't get to play freshman year.
Oh
We
yeah.
had seniors who didn't
Didn't
play
play.
what the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So they went from straight freshman to varsity when they came back to the program.
Oh yeah, that was totally
And
right.
that was a big thing was, guys, we haven't been playing for this long. We really have to get back into it. And it basically went back to middle school basics
Fundamentals. Yeah.
and building them up to varsity
Right.
from there. And you're right. We certainly had talented players who did play throughout COVID and who kept their skill level up. And those are the ones we really relied on, I feel like,
Right.
because they were the one producing and performing to the level that we needed. So I do get like, oh, there's just that favoritism. But I don't really believe that I've ever favored anybody. I had my niece playing that year, and I don't feel like I treated her any different from anybody else. I think everyone earned the spot, the position, and the playing time that they were given.
Right. So, with all that, coming in after the COVID year, the second year we started coaching, and that's where a lot of things took a turn. It was a little difficult with, everybody just, I mean, coming back from playing 1 year and then again, some girls just coming straight into varsity and playing, and we had to make that adjustments to it. And, it was tough. So,
Yeah,
and
it.
what were you thinking at the time? Knowing me, I'm like, okay, yeah, okay, let's go.
So my big thing every year that we go into this is going back to the culture that we're trying to create and
Hmm.
the philosophy that I am really trying to be persistent on, and that is building a positive and trusting environment
Right.
because We are not going to be successful as a program and as coaches if players' parents aren't going to trust us.
Right.
And it shows because we they have had a very high turnover rate for coaches there. And I don't know or I don't remember how long, and you probably know more than I do or remember best, but has there ever been a coach there more than 5 years, more than 10 years
I
as girls basketball
I think there
coach?
was one, and again, it's like one of our mutual friends, and his wife is the one who kind of took over the program way back in the day until you know they moved, or I don't know what had happened with that. So, but after that, it was like every other year that we had a new coach there. And, that's kind of like where the base foundation of it started too, as well. And then now we're just picking up everything else coming into our fourth year of coaching.
Yeah.
And
So
yeah,
that's where we really need to kind of hit the nail on the head is
right,
we need to be persistent, we need to be available, and we need to be committed.
right,
Especially if we want players and parents to trust us.
right,
And I feel like that's us because we don't have any kids playing
right.
and we're not in it just until my kid is done playing basketball and we're done.
Yeah.
That's not what I believe in. And me being a player, a former player, I should say. I'm so
Okay, okay,
old.
okay.
Me being a former player really opened my eyes as to what kind of coach I wanted to be, how
Hmm.
supportive I've wanted to be, and just showing the players that I'm not ever going to give up on them
Oh
because,
yeah.
I felt that. I felt disagreements and I truly felt how coaches are able to give up on you and your team and how much that hurts. And that's something that I've vowed and promised to never do to
Oh yeah.
any player that we have.
Yeah. And we got a really good glimpse of it from last year, and it did take a toll on us, but at the same time, we showed up every day and continued to work. It didn't matter if, so and so said so and so this, and hearsay, she say whatever, he say. And, we just every day we just went back to the grind. So that just shows, us as coaches that, again, we don't want to ever give up on anybody or any individual out there. Even if it's like some other athlete that's from a different program, like say basketball, and then there's wrestling going on at the same time. We have kids talk to us too,
Yeah,
even in their wrestling, they're like, hey, how do you guys do this? Like, it's so motivating. How you guys like teach this? And then we kind of like have to kind of find ways around that, which is pretty
yeah.
inspiring too. So,
It's awesome to hear that positive feedback from the players and the
hmm
athletes because that makes us feel like what we're doing is really impactful
and
and
yes,
helpful. And when we get that outside, like when our players get that outside source feeding them, all the negativity,
yeah.
and you start to see it, it does take a toll on you
Oh, it
because
does.
it's it hurts because you've spent so much time and effort and you're doing everything that you can to be there to support them and help them, and you're even taking your time away from your own kids to really be a part of this team. And when that starts to happen, it's it's just very poisonous,
Oh
very
yeah.
poisonous.
Yeah, that's probably in another episode. We're gonna get a little bit more down to the nitty gritty of that stuff. So, as of right now,
I
we're
can't
just
wait.
trying to, yeah, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be a good one. I think we're gonna have a lot of listeners. But fast forward the third year, last year, with with the cornerstones and of the culture around, we have to be ready for the toughness. We got to have integrity, selflessness, and also, hard work. All those would be great. And, we've tried to teach that to the kids too. And, from you as a coach, all of us out here want to hear what your point of view of that is.
As far as my core values for the program goes, is again, it's not all about basketball, and we've talked about that.
Hmm.
It's about growth. These players growing their skill level. It's about academic improvements. Who is taking the the necessary steps to ensure that they are performing athletically, because that's the most important. And we
Yeah.
always tell the girls that is your academics come way before your athletics and sports. As far
Yeah.
as we go as coaches, that's what we implement.
Yeah.
And then communicating, because if you don't realize, a lot of the freshman girls we had that just got, a lot of the freshman girls we had when we first started couldn't even order food at a restaurant.
Oh yeah.
And so
Oh, it was so funny.
it's really nice to try to get them out of their shell and
Oh
be
yeah.
more, social, and be able to just be themselves.
Right.
And us going to the University of Utah team camp, that really showed, because a lot of those girls were just laughing and just being silly, and
Yeah. And
that's
pretty
what
much
I love
having a
to
good time.
see.
Yeah. Pretty much having a
Especially
good
building that
time.
bond together.
Right.
And then also overcoming adversity. And we
Hmm.
always talk about that every single year. We got to overcome adversity because we are dealing with so much, and it's not just within the team and not just within player issues. It also comes from parents who are trying to uh, give their 2 cents all the time, or
Yeah.
it's the fans who are trying to coach while we're coaching during the game,
Oh,
or they have their
that was a tough.
opinion,
Yeah.
or
Or
someone
coming that.
or someone yelling, "Shoot! Shoot!" And I'm like,
Oh
"Oh
my gosh, that was
gosh."
probably one of my biggest pet peeves ever.
I mean, yeah, it's thank you for, cheering them on, but don't encourage that, because that is not what we're teaching them
Right. We don't just go out,
in
drive around
practice.
and teach you how to drive. Hey, you got to shift your truck. We don't say, "Oh, you got to turn your truck on." And stuff like that. Just another version. We don't come back and say that to the or any of the fans out there. But it's just hard because it kind of just singles out the one person, and then it singles us out too as well, in a
Yeah.
way that I see it. But, uh, man, it's
It
crazy.
it's funny because the girls start to listen, and they just chucking up these 3 pointers, and we have to call timeout and be like, "Ladies, we have talked about this. Do not listen to the crowd."
Mhm.
And I think during our second year, that really affected us,
Yeah.
because if no one had noticed, no one realizes what the team goes through, especially when we're huddling up before a game. And it's sad because every single time we had huddled up, and our leaders and our captains, that's always something that they said was, "Guys, don't listen to the crowd. Don't listen to
Mhm.
the crowd. Don't let them get you down." And that comes back to us trying to implement, uh, you know, culture and engagement with the fans and the community, and trying to get it to be positive. So, as me as a coach, I am thinking of ways to try to settle that down
Mhm.
and be more engaging, because we've talked about, I am so like, I always keep to myself. I am not outgoing like you, the social butterfly who can just talk to anybody and start a conversation. I keep to myself,
Right.
and it's just so hard for me to open up that way. But me being the head coach, I have to make those adjustments too.
Oh yeah, you have to make a change no matter what. And you know, we've seen it. You know, we're a little bit more open when it comes to in practices. We talk about whatever we want. You know, we make fun of whatever we're talking about. Sometimes we reenact stuff, and you know, that's the team bonding that we're kind of like looking forward to. You know, these coming years that we're going to be head coaches or coaches.
One thing that I really liked is when we hosted that scrimmage with Red Mesa.
Oh yeah,
I was taking the money, and it felt so awesome to be able to say hi to everyone and thank them for being there and supporting
right.
us and
That's the biggest
helping
support. You
us.
know.
And it felt great. Like, I really enjoyed that. And I didn't want to leave, but I had to go and
We all had
help
to
at the
rotate.
concession. We all had to rotate.
And
But
yeah.
I feel like that's the best engagement. And that was really helpful for us
Oh yeah.
because, we were able to talk and
Yeah.
mingle and
You know, not only that, but you know, get the girls, get the team out there and start playing together as a high school team, and you know, just the community come together. We had a pretty good turnout that day, and it was
yeah,
pretty awesome. And you know, coming up in a few or in the next several years, we're going to be running all those summer programs too, where we're going to have scrimmages from different schools. We'll go to one location, they'll come to us, or vice versa. So it's just all going to be a mix.
that's that's really something, and that goes back to persistence, patience,
Hmm.
of how we're going to really build the program.
Right.
Because the first summer we didn't do anything.
No.
The second
Second
summer
summer,
we
nothing.
started strength training,
Well,
but
we
we didn't
started
have a lot of
a
people
girl.
show up.
It was like one or two people.
And then this summer, everyone is. That's when we did have a lot of people, and
Yeah.
that's when we went to our first team camp and started scheduling the scrimmages. So it's
Hmm.
improving, and
Yeah.
I feel like that's what people need to realize is it's going to take some time,
Time. Yeah.
and
So.
rebuilding is going to take some time.
Oh yeah. So, but you know, thinking about it with the years coming in, and I think it's gonna be really beneficial for now that you know, if we were to leave and you know other parents are going to ask, like the community is going to ask, oh, what about the summer games? Are you guys going to do the summer games? You know, we'll leave that all up to the next coaches.
I think that's why I really enjoy having a bigger coaching staff
Oh yeah.
with with the three coaches that we had this past year.
Hmm.
They are really learning and picking up with um, just the background and what needs to be done and how to look at certain situations in a different way and really getting hands on with coaching during a game and how is that going to feel,
Right.
and that's a legacy that I would leave is I was able to help the next generation or the next coach who's going to come in, to fill that spot and continue
Yeah. It
to
kind of like
build instead of rebuild.
yeah, kind of like leaving a blueprint for them. So
Yeah,
kind of like
good way.
say, yeah, that's a good way. So you know, we'll have the plug and plays. They can implement their stuff, and you know, that's probably one of the biggest thing we always talk about. You know, legacy, leaving your legacy there, and you know, people just admiring the things that we do.
I would rather coaches build off of what we have already done
Hmm.
instead of, oh well, I'm taking all this with me, you're not going to know anything, you
Hmm.
build what you want to build. It's that's what community is about,
Right.
is helping each other and supporting each other and doing it for the kids, because everyone loses the focus that the kids are the most important piece
Right.
of all of this.
Yeah. So now this brings on to the next question is, you know, the community as well and all the volunteers is, you know, with the younger kids, the youth programs, you know, they start out their little careers. What is that, third grade? would it be third grade, right?
I think it is third grade.
Third
Yeah.
grade all the way to sixth grade until they get into middle school basketball. They're setting a foundation for them, and we've kind of like talked to this back and forth just a little bit. We only touched it, I don't know, like once or twice because you mentioned that, back in Arizona, that the head coach was able to oversee the whole entire program, even the junior high, the middle school, or the middle school, and then down to grade school, kind of like in their way path on the way they want to be coached. So, can you
So
expand on that just a little bit?
so from what I understand is if it's a so the head high school coach is able to help create the program starting from junior high. And then I think what they do is they coordinate with the little kids, the little
Mhm.
leagues, and they decide, okay, well, we want, these kids to develop these skills before they get into middle school.
Right.
And that's the focus for them. And okay, well, in middle school, I want these players to develop these skills before they get into high school.
Yeah.
And then they're all ready. I kind of got this idea when I came back to San Juan during my junior year, and Coach Lee talked about this one day. He stated that we have players that come in, and every year he has to teach the same thing.
Hmm.
He has to go back and teach the same
Reteach.
skills.
Yeah.
And when it came to junior senior year, he didn't want that. So he decided to, okay, well, these girls are already skilled to a certain point. We're going to separate them and it's going to be different.
Hmm.
And I think that's detrimental because you're pretty much holding back your players if you're grouping them together and trying to teach them the skill that they need to learn.
Yeah. So, and again,
Or
that. Okay.
it hurts in the opposite way of, well, I have these really high skilled girls and I'm not going to take the time to teach the girls that need to catch up.
Mm.
So I'm only focusing on the high skilled players. So I mean, either way, it's gonna hurt, and
Doesn't
that's
matter.
where
Yeah.
yeah, and that's where our extra coaches come in,
Yeah.
and that's where you know involving parents in their players' development. And we always hear this, teachers are parents are children's first teachers. It's also parents are players' coaches first.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna we're not gonna develop a player to be varsity level high performing player the 2 days out of the 2 days 2 hours out of the day, only 4 days a week.
Hmm.
That's really how would you say that? It would be a miracle if you would be able to do that,
Oh yeah.
because
Just
that
pick
would
it up right
mean
then and there.
the player has to be engaged. They have to have the good
Focus.
attitude. They have to be determined. They would want to have, or they would want to learn all of that and continue
Hmm.
all of that. But a lot of times, and I hate to say it, but parents vouch for their kids and say they love playing basketball. This is the most important thing to them, and I really hope that they get a lot of playing time and that they are captains. Parents see that. They see
Hmm.
the positive. I get that they only want the best for their kids. They're
Right.
really protective and they don't want their kids to hurt or feel sad or be upset.
But and then again, that's why we have the coaching staff. So we just don't make a decision ourselves, which is you or just me. We have three more other coaches that we all come to an agreement with. Okay, this is who we're starting. What do you guys think of that? If you have your input, come on, let's do it. Okay, her. Let's switch them around, do this and that.
Yeah. And what parents don't see is, okay, I get that you feel like your kid wants to play at this level
Hmm.
and you want them to be captains and you want them to do this, but they don't show that.
Yeah.
The players definitely don't show what their parents are wanting,
Hmm.
and that's what makes it difficult.
Yeah, it
Is
makes it very, very difficult because, if you want your kid to take those leadership roles, they have to show it off court too, because that's the only way that they're going to get used to talking in front of people, presentation, what is it called? It's another word. Well, let's just say just getting to know a lot of the players on their own, being a social butterfly, saying, okay, this girl likes this, she likes this, and we can't put them together, or she's not with us right now, and she has her own little thing going, and it's going to be difficult. So that's where the leadership comes in. And if you want your kid to be a captain, to be a leader, you have to show those strengths within them, not only just at practice, but every day.
yeah, and I think like one time we talked to some of the girls and they were like, "Oh, we don't talk to them at school,"
Yeah.
or "We don't," and I'm like,
We don't,
"But
yeah.
but you
They're in
guys
the same
are
school.
you're a team. You're in a
Right.
small school, and I don't I don't know." And it's hard to try to ask them to do that.
We can only mention it, but it's up to them if they want to, take their actions and do it. So, and again, we'll go based off of the foundation still. If you want your kid to be very good and excel in sports, they just can't stop. They can't just do the work at practice. They have to do the work at home, wherever you guys are. They want to dribble, they want to be the best ball handler. You dribble the ball. You learn different moves, crossover through the legs, around the world, around your head, whatever. Passing. If you want to be the best passer, you learn how to pass. If you want to be the best shooter, you got to learn how to shoot. You got to learn how to use your form. With all that, we've tried to teach that all since we started, and it was a little difficult. It
Yeah,
was a little difficult.
it was. One thing I really like that we implemented this year is not really not trying to cut players.
Oh
We
yeah,
offered them to be managers,
managers.
and it it showed who was in it for the team and who just didn't want to even try. You know,
Right.
so it kind of it really opened our eyes to see that we had one girl that we felt wasn't ready to be a part of the team yet. We offered her to be a manager,
Hmm.
and then we had a spot or two open up, and she ended up
Being on the
being on the
team.
team. So even though you're a manager, you're still on the team. You're still
Right.
working hard. We're still giving you the opportunity to take that role and that place as a player, because we tell everybody your role is not set. Your
Yeah.
position is not set in stone. You have to continue to give your effort if you want to keep that position. And if you're not willing to take that, or you're not willing to do the work, we'll find, we'll have someone else who is here every day,
Right.
who is working hard and who is working towards playing that position.
Yeah. Exactly.
So we
So,
also implemented the red shirt
oh yeah, the
in
red
our
shirt. Yeah.
program.
Which is always great. It's kind of like no one kind of sees you for who you are until it's time when you're called up. So just like baseball, I'm wearing a baseball cap talking basketball, so I love baseball. So, all right, I know I'm weird. So, we covered
So
the emphasis of fundamentals, dribbling, passing, shooting. Now it's like going on to specializing in defense, court awareness, and shooting. Just pretty much all the fundamentals. And with that, we try to teach these options to the girls.
that is something that has been probably the most difficult part of this process of building the program, because it's hard to teach court awareness,
Hmm.
and it's hard to teach them to play smart
Hmm.
and use your teammates, and in game situations we we really hate to nitpick, and during games we really hate to point out like uh,
What they did wrong,
small
and
mistakes,
yeah,
or we see small mistakes, and like I mentioned, no player is ever going to have a perfect game
yeah.
unless you are a freaking alien from the Looney Tunes taking
No,
basketball players' games.
no, you're just pretty much an AI computer. So you're a bot. So you can't make a mistake. Even with an algorithm, you always find a new way to create new stuff. So, anyways, nerd, nerd, nerd. So,
Nerds coming out, settle down.
I totally forgot what I was gonna ask. So,
But
and I,
when we when we try to teach the girls court awareness, it's just difficult,
yeah,
and it's something really really hard to teach. Like if you guys are find a way or know a way to teach them,
let us know.
please let us know, because
Just
I think that's one of the most difficult
all right.
skills to.
Yeah, definitely one of the difficult skills to learn. But I came across a video. I think it was like last year. It was with Coach K, and he in one of his interviews, he's like, "How do you teach court awareness? How do you teach your peripherals? How do you use that to implement into the game?" He just straight up said, "I've never taught him that. I've tried it a few times, and these kids don't understand." Like, use your peripherals. You see this side from you, the sides that you can see.
Yeah,
He's like, he's right next to you. He had a wide open layer. Why didn't you pass the ball in a way? So, and he's just like, you know what? I just got tired of it. Use your peripherals. And I just told him, like, these kids nowadays are not going to learn how to do that because they're just so focused. What do you call it? Tunnel vision, you
television.
know? So that's kind of the way you put it. Their tunnel vision, they'll see an open player, but they'll look them off there and be like, okay, I'm already over here, so I'm going to take it in. So I think that's kind of like what he was trying to describe is, the tunnel vision.
Yeah, and shooting is shooting. We
Oh,
tell
yeah.
them if you're on fire, you're
Just get the
keep
ball, call for the
shooting.
ball.
Like
Yeah.
if you're on fire, everybody better look at passing you the ball for open
Oh,
shots.
yeah.
If
Oh,
you're missing your shots, what are you doing?
you're being a decoy.
You're stepping in.
Yeah.
You're
Stepping in,
getting
being a
short.
decoy. Or my favorite is go to the basket, lay it up, draw a foul. And that was the other one too, is, draw a foul. What is that? Just make them foul you. Just go to the rim, make them bump you, make them foul you, make them try to get the ball. And that's kind of in a way I had to explain to them, okay, draw a foul like that. It was pretty funny though.
This is something. This is a reason why I do not watch the
Hmm.
NBA, is because all they're doing is chucking up three pointers. No one's playing defense. No one is trying to drive it in. If you look back at the NBA from the 90s, early 2000s, 2010 to now, um, they are just crying about every little foul and flopping. And I really like the way the 90s players played. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of people agree. Patrick Ewing, Larry Bird. Like Larry Bird was smart. He had the best court awareness that I can think of. Knowing
Hmm.
where his players are, knowing where they're going to be, and just making those moves happen.
Right. Just kind
And
of
then
like
of
learning
course,
the set. So.
Michael Jordan just dominated. He had his Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. They just dominated. They knew the game. They were familiar with it. They spent a lot of time
Developing their
being
game.
good
Yeah.
at their game. And yeah, like we could compare, we can talk about these NBA players, but that's their job. Like people don't realize these are their jobs, and they're spending 8 hours just like a regular job in the gym, in the weight room, crafting and honing those skills because that is their money.
Hmm.
And we have players who are in high school trying to do the same thing, but on top of that, they're going to school worrying about their grades. Some of them might be working a job if
Yeah.
in, bigger areas. So I feel like we expect a lot from them and their maturity level
Oh yeah.
than where they're really at.
Yeah. Which is pretty awesome. Now, this is probably going to be one of my favorite topics that we're going to talk about is the summer improvements. What we have been doing this whole entire summer. It was like at the end of our last game at state, we were just like so out of it. We were like, oh my gosh, we lost that game. We couldn't blame it on anybody, but we take the blame too as well. Because we're coaches, and with that there, it just kind of like opened my eyes a little bit more because we needed to get stronger as a team, but not only as a team, but physically too. And it comes down to with the all the summer things that we have been doing this current summer. Can you explain a little bit more?
So from the last game at state, I again, it goes back to some of those issues that we had to deal with. And the last game at state to now, I have learned that players being able to trust us is gonna
Hmm.
mean a lot because if anyone doesn't realize the game wasn't about the
The last second of that
last
play.
minute,
Yeah.
yeah, it wasn't the last 10 seconds of that game. We were up with 2 minutes left,
Like 10
and
points, I think it
we
was.
no, we were up by four.
Was it 4? Oh, okay. I thought it was 10.
We were up by 4 points, 3 or 4 points, and we asked them to do something, and they didn't want to do it. So that goes back to them trusting us.
Hmm.
And I see it. I've seen it throughout the season when you have people going up to the girls and trying to coach them, even when it's like right in the middle of the game and they're someone shooting free throws, and they call the girls over and try to tell them to do certain things.
Hmm.
That's what makes it hard. And that really created a divide. We have had players transfer because they don't agree with what we're trying to do and what we're trying to implement, and that's okay. Everyone's going to have their opinion. Everyone is
Hmm.
going to feel like what they know and their knowledge is better than what we know and how we implement things.
Hmm.
And that's something that I really had to come to terms with and accept.
Yeah.
I am not going to be perfect. I am going to make mistakes. That's human of me. And as a coach, I am learning just like everybody else.
Right.
And what we started is believing in ourselves, and that was the biggest thing. Is if we're not believing in what we're implementing as coaches, no one else is going to believe it.
Yeah. Or it's not even going to work.
Exactly.
But
So that's the biggest thing that has changed from when the last game of the season to now, because we've been with the players all summer.
hmm.
We've been consistent in having the gym open all of June, having the weight room open all of July,
Yeah.
being involved more, being showing them that we are here to support them, and even trying to go and watch them play when they're playing on different, a different team.
Yeah.
And that's what we really need to do is it's about the players,
Yep.
like I
It
said
all
earlier.
starts. Yeah, it starts with the day basketball ends. The next day is when off season starts. And I kept telling them, off season starts now. It's up to you if you want to change. It's up to you if you want to get better. We're going to leave that up to you. But if you guys need help, we're always here. And, the girls did take advantage. They took advantage of that. So we've opened a weight room. I would say even during track and field, we started opening the gym in track and field. Whoever wasn't in track came into the weight room and it kind of built from there. Then we opened the gym and then from there it was like gym. We worked on certain things. We worked on kind of like specialized movements. Say if you need to drive the ball, you do a sweep and then go right to the basket. Kind of like those technical stuff.
Yeah.
But it was great, opening the gym. And we were probably the only program in the gym throughout the whole entire summer. We weren't hogging the gym. We were just like, hey, we need to get on that schedule. Just put us down. Just put us down. So we kind of used that to our advantage. And then the last, 4 weeks of July, well, at the end of June, when our gym closed for resurfacing the floor, and so we just decided to open the weight room. So we did a lot of hit. We were just trying to get a little stronger. Well, you can see that now. So the girls are a lot more confident and they're a lot stronger, and they're using that to their advantage too.
Yeah.
Well, and that's base two, thanks to you.
Thanks to all of us.
Yeah, thanks
I
to
think
Bob.
it's it. And I always say like the credit goes back to the players.
Hmm.
They're the ones doing the work. They're the ones coming in and getting through all the hard workouts. Even though they're
Right.
sore, they come back the next day and do it again.
Do it again. Yeah. So that was the best thing about it is, we always asked them like, hey, are you sore? Like, yeah, I'm really sore. Um, let's jump in cold water. Kind of like start the healing process. And, we've heard it all the time. Use heat and cold, just to speed up a lot of the recovery. And we also told them to eat. At least try to get some protein source in so that your muscles are able to recover. Like any type
Yeah.
of food, I guess you could say, which is pretty awesome. But I think that, we're doing a good job as coaches, and everyone's got their busy schedules and whoever's there shows up, and we do give a lot of thanks to our other assistant coaches too. They don't get anything out of it. So
Yeah. I mean, right now in the summer, none of us do.
yeah,
This
that's
is our
right.
we're giving our time
To
uh,
help build the program.
volunteering to
Yeah.
help build the program. And that's where I give a lot of kudos to the assistant coaches as well,
Yeah.
is they're willing to stick to this and really help us.
Hmm. Yeah, along the way. So just recently, we had a few, people come up to us and saying that, we're doing a good job. This is kind of like one of the few times that the gym's been open all summer, and that's like really, really nice to hear from the community too. And not only that, but if we go to different areas, and we mentioned that we're basketball courts, and a lot of them would say, oh, "What are
We're
you guys doing
basketball
now?" Yeah,
coaches.
yeah. Basketball coaches. My bad. Basketball coach. Okay, my bad. But anyway, so we kind of like go to different places and we kind of chit chat and then like, oh hey, we're basketball coaches, and then they ask a lot of questions, which is pretty awesome. And I let you do most of the talking anyway.
Because you say words like,
Bro, dude, sick. Yeah, so.
yeah, it's really great to hear the feedback
Hmm.
because a lot of times it's the negativity that we hear.
Oh Jesus,
And
don't get
a
me
lot
started
of it
on that.
comes from people that don't know us.
Hmm.
Like I see people like you have, some people sending posts or comments, and I look at, okay, well, who is this person? I don't know who this person is. So it's hard to avoid seeing those,
Hmm.
and I just feel like I need to do better for myself to put that boundary up
Yeah.
and not allow it to, I guess, affect me, because that's all I'm seeing are the negative comments, or that's
Right.
all I'm hearing are the negative comments. I don't hear or see enough of the positive.
Oh no, I don't think we will for quite some time, but we're starting to hear a few of it. But at the same time, a lot of the naysayers or the people who do make a lot of these accusations, which are true or not true, we're never going to see them say it to our face. And, we'll just give them the benefit of the doubt and it's like, hey, okay, cool. So we just heard it. It's like, again, hearsay. That's all we have to rely on. But I don't think there's going to be a time and place for those anyway, because small town. Small town. That's kind of like what we're dealing with. But, we kind of covered most of the bases on, how to build a program. We talked about our experiences and how we would continue. You know,
Yeah.
uh, I kind of
Again,
lost.
it's long term.
Oh yeah.
It's long term. It's not going to happen overnight. Trial and error. If something is working,
Hmm.
awesome. Keep doing that. If it's not, okay, well, let's try something else.
Right.
And that's really all we can do. Um, be there to support the girls, make the players the main focus, and just continue to trust in ourselves, trust in each other,
Hmm.
trust the process, and again,
100%.
overcome the adversity.
Yeah, just be one with the wind.
That's how we send our brain waves to get on the
Right.
same page.
A little bit. So, but yeah. So I guess we're good, huh?
We're
I
good.
would do. Are we good? Do we need to cover a little bit more?
I don't think so.
No, you don't think so? I think it
You
was a
don't.
good
You don't
part.
have any.
Yeah.
You don't have any other questions?
No, not at the moment. So I think we covered a lot, and we broke it down into about 4 or 5 sections. So, and then that kind of got a little bit more into the detailed stuff. So I think we're good.
Okay. So make
Yeah, we're good.
sure. So we'll be uploading this every Wednesday,
Hmm.
and we appreciate the support. Again, like, we don't mind anybody reaching out and asking questions. I did have one player who isn't one of our who isn't one of our on any of our the teams that we have, ask if they could be a part of the podcast.
I know it's kind of funny what it's gonna be awesome, but then we have to get approval. Oh,
Yeah,
because
that's a whole different thing,
yeah,
and I don't know if we want to go there just yet.
yeah,
We're just starting, and I don't think we want to end up having to
get shut
stop.
down. Yeah, get shut down. No, shouldn't say that. I won't get shut down. Mm-mm.
But what about you? What are your thoughts on how we're doing with building the program, and what do you think
I
we need to?
I was gonna end a podcast, but that's why I asked you the question.
You can cut some of it out.
No, 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 no. I've already asked, already said the questions, and I have already answered some of them too. No, no, I think we're doing a very good job as coaches. And again, it goes back to what did we say? The coaches coming back and buying into the program at 100%, no matter where they are, where we're at, we still have our insights as well. Um, we're not always going to be the perfect ones. We're going to have our bad games, and we're going to have our off days at practices. That's something that just we have to build off of, and we do appreciate our coaches because we have my opinion, you have your opinion, and we have everybody else's opinion, and at the end, we always come down to it. So with that, I think with the coaching staff we have, I think we're all loyal. So to what we have to do as well, as kind of like doing the program, kind of like go a little bit more in depth, like, hey, this is the stuff that we need to do. Kind of like, hey, I got your back, and if something happens, I'll always be there for you too as well. We're coaches, and coaches always have to stick together. And not only that, but our work ethic, the way we kind of like carry ourselves with around, we all are pretty professional about what we have to do and what we do. And that's what I love about this coaching staff is even though we have relatives on the court, relatives in the stands, we have to say what we have to say, and it doesn't bother us unless it like we kind of like get under each other's skins, and I'm sure it's gonna not gonna happen, but we can't tell the future. So, but
Yeah.
I'm just really proud of the coaching staff that we put together, and we're all gonna be developed to every game and every year that we go through this, we're developing as coaches as well. And thanks to you, thank you for the invitation, and of course
You're
the
stuck
other.
with me.
Um,
You're always gonna be my right hand
my
man.
Rahan man. Yeah, so that's what I like about our coaching staff. We joke around with each other, and it's like pretty much basketball stuff. But we have our fun times, and when it's time for business, we get down to business. As one of our players say, we're here for business. So I really like that. It's so old school,
It's
but I like it.
straight to the point.
Yeah, straight to the point. Building a foundation of the team. It just doesn't start with us. It also starts with the players. Are they willing to like take the leadership, and yeah. So we pretty much covered it, and I kind of like am repeating everything, and I don't like it.
Oh goodness.
I know it's crazy. But thank you guys for joining our podcast tonight. It has been amazing. We've been getting a lot of reactions to our videos, and we just like to say thank you guys. And it's
Yeah.
so awesome. This is again, it's something new that we're trying, and it's so crazy. I
It's
didn't even think
fun.
it's a little different, but it's fun. It kind of like makes us speak our minds, so, kind of like what we're thinking, kind of like
Pick our brains.
yeah, pick our brains. So
Well, thanks
well,
everyone for supporting us with coaching and
mhm,
with all of the other adventures we set out to do,
right.
whether it's podcasting, our other companies that we have. We always appreciate the support. And I'm sorry, but you're going to be seeing my face a lot.
Me
And I
too.
feel
So
sorry for you guys.
yeah, you're gonna listen to my voice all the time, so it'll change. So, but thank you guys. This is Off the Court with
Joni.
and Derek. So catch you guys next time. Later.